Hey, so it's been a long time since I've done an instructional video, but I got asked a few questions at some of our rehearsals, and I thought I'd share some of the topics of discussion with this video. And even though this is being made for the members of Tatsumaki Taiko, I'll probably share this out to the general public. So one topic was when you're playing different beats, where should you really feel like the beat originates from in your motion and your kata, and so where should you put your focus, right? So I'm gonna go through this systematically. I'm gonna start with big, slow beats, and then we'll talk about faster beats. And then the second question that came up was, how can I improve my speed? So we'll talk about that at the last part of this video. So let's go back though. If you're playing your big don-con beats, right? Especially if there's rests between the beats, I think you really want to get fully extended, right? And this is a very Taiko thing. This is kata. This is different than Western drumming. So the origination of my beat when I'm playing big don and con beats really should come from my shoulders, right? Down my arm, into my forearm, right? Then snapping my wrist, right? So if I have some rests between or space between my beats, right, I want to take advantage of that by extending. Don, suku, 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 kon, suku, 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 don, suku, 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 kon, suku, 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 don, su, kon, 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 su, don, right? So I got some space between those beats, right? So I can bring my arms up fully, which means my motion for my beat actually starts at my shoulder, comes down my arm, forearm, wrist. Same thing with the left hand, right? Start with the shoulder, down the arm, forearm, wrist, okay? All right, if you're playing faster tempos than that, I think the motion then naturally moves down to your elbows, right? You're doing a doko-doko. Right, now my motion is coming from a lever of my forearm and my wrist, right? Swing G, right? Or doko patterns, right? So that's a pretty natural thing. And I think while the big don-con beats, you might have to practice full extension. That may take a little bit of time, might not be so natural. Beating this way from your elbow and a little bit into your wrist, I think that's a very natural motion. I think a lot of people get up to there with their playing, and then sometimes they kind of hit a wall. And so one of the things that I like to work on with people when I see them sort of struggling is giving them some practice to get their wrists engaged so that they can move their motion down from their forearm into their wrist, right? So there you're getting a little speed, right? Faster drum roll from your wrist than just from your elbow, right? Much faster, okay? So how can you practice that? So I usually try to give these two drills to people to work on for wrist motion. So one is simply bring the tip of the bachi straight up, perpendicular to the floor, drop it down. Straight up, drop it down. Straight up, full wrist stroke, no forearm motion at all. Do not move your forearm. Wrist, up, down. Back up, down, right? Up, down, okay? So now I'm isolating my motion to my wrist completely, right? I'm trying not to use my forearm. And I got a full wrist stroke, right? That's really important to get the tip of your bachi up, right? So you get a full wrist stroke. Okay, that's going to definitely make you feel your wrist action, and it should help you move your playing motion down into your wrists. And then another exercise that I have people do, which is for wrist motion but also for stick control, is a don su, kon su exercise, right? The big beat, don and kon, the loud beats, are full wrist strokes. And then the soft beat is simply dropping your hand down, right, to get the tip of the bachi to hit the kawa, the drum head, right, for a soft beat. So what you're doing is you're getting 2 strokes with 1 wrist motion. Bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, bounce it. And then you're also trying to work on getting a big difference between the sound of your loud beat and your soft beat, right? So that's the stick control part. It will give your hands control over the sound of the bocce hitting the drum head, right? So that's very important. That's a very important technique. So you should really practice that. If you're not already doing it, right? Hit and tap, bounce it, right? And try not to move your forearm, and try not to move your wrist twice. 1 wrist motion for those 2 beats. Okay? And then the last exercise for speed is really about getting your fingers engaged in moving the bocce. Okay? You've got to squeeze your 3 fingers, your ring finger, right, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, right, to make the tip of the bocce move, right? So that's basically involves making this fulcrum, right, with the crook of your index finger and your thumb, and then using your fingers to rock the bocce back and forth on that fulcrum, right? Getting a feeling for that, okay? Once you can do that, right, now I can employ my fingers into my drum roll, and your drum roll will go up another level of speed, okay? So simple exercise you can do to practice this. So you have a practice pad. Doesn't matter what you're hitting for this. I'm going to use shime bocce. Just taking each hand, right, and trying to isolate that motion into that squeezing of your fingers, right, and rocking the bocce between your thumb and index finger. Right? You're going to get another level of speed if you do that. So, you know, if you're watching TV and the same commercial comes on that you've seen a million times, grab your bocce, right? Just practice your finger technique, right? If you do this a little bit every week, I guarantee you'll go up another level of speed in your drum roll. So there you go. There's some I think some things to focus on in your playing, in your kata, in your body motion. Will make you feel more comfortable, give you a better sense of confidence about how you're hitting, and awareness. And then lastly, speed, right? Wrist to fingers will elevate your speed. There you go. Enjoy.